Hi everyone, my name's Navina Bartlett and I am the boss lady and founder of Coconut Chili. I want to talk about the great gut debate, but mainly about the perils of Indian food, and I'm talking about gut as in a big gut. When I went to India as a child, I had the most amazing food. My family are from South India, and I have an aunt who's got a coffee estate in the hills above Bangalore in southern India. We had really, really simple meals, and we'd go into the garden and pick beans and cook really simple chapatis and with a simple pickle, and that was something that I really, really loved. Now, when I go back to India, it really frustrates me because there's such a lot of overconsumption over there and people are becoming overweight. It's quite upsetting. I think the problem number one is the lethal combination of the sweet tooth and fried foods. Now, both things we really, really love, and in India, the sweet tooth is absolutely prolific. People love their sweets. We've got things like jalebi, which is deep fried sort of sweets which are soaked in a syrup, and there's dairy and there's flour in there. People love to share these sweets with their family members and their friends, and people just fry things all the time, especially with the Indian diet, because there's a lot of curries and there's kind of wet-based dishes, so you almost need to have a little bit of crunch, and the best way of providing a bit of crunch is to share some poppadoms or some snacks on the side of your meal. And, people are quite unhealthy, really. Especially when you talk about things like when you go out for snacks, you go and eat street food, and there's amazing kind of potato bonda, which is chickpea flour, deep fried with potatoes in the middle. Really, really tasty stuff. My aunts, in particular, love to feed, and whenever I go there for summer holidays, they always tell me, because I'm quite thin, and I kind of work on that I'm too thin and I must eat, and they want to share their food with me. It's a big cultural thing in India as well. So the typical diet that I would have when I go to India is I would go to my aunt's house for breakfast, and she'd cook some amazing deep-fried puri bread, little wheat flour puris with a spicy South Indian potato, and there'd be maybe some yogurt on the side with that, and we'd drink lots of sweetened coffee. And then for lunch, I'd go somewhere else, and we'd have a whole thali of food. So lots of different dishes. So there'd be a bread, and there'd be a couple of vegetable dishes, and there'd be some rice, and there'd be some sambar or some rasam or a different curry, and then there'd be a sweet with that, and there'd be some fried stuff on the side. And it's very social, so everybody eats together, and that's a great thing, but actually there's way too much food there. So what people need to do is to understand how overconsumption is a really bad thing, and you need to be able to listen to your body a little more, and you need to know when you're overeating and when you're eating the wrong things. Now, a really, really good way of doing that is to use the size of your palm, because if you look at a dinner plate, most people will fill their dinner plate, and a dinner plate is too big. So if you look at the size of your palm, you can see how much food. Yeah, exactly. Look at your palm now, because it's really not that big, and you can see how much food you should be eating. And I love vegetables. I totally agree with Bill. Everybody should be eating more vegetables because it's a good source of energy. And if you take your size of your palm, eat a portion of vegetables, eat a portion of protein, and eat half the amount of carbs, half the size of your palm. We should be eating a lot less bread, we should be eating a lot less rice, and just generally eating less quantity. My dad, my late father, would have loved Abergavenny. He was so into his food, and I get my passion from him. But he ate all the wrong things. He really did, and he ate far too much food. He was a consultant psychiatrist. He was that kind of work-hard doctor environment where, he would eat all the fried stuff. He did an amazing butter chicken, and he used to put so much ghee in there. And yes, absolutely, it tasted great, but it was really bad for you. He was a smoker. He drank far too much whiskey. He kind of had the profile of Mr. Greedy. he had that gut. And, he died when he was 63. And it upsets me to think that he could have been here today. And it's for him that I'm really passionate about educating people about eating healthier foods. Because, he might still be around today. And I miss him terribly. He died of a heart attack. But the problem can be solved. And it's mainly about portion control and people being aware of their bodies. The type of Indian food that I personally cook at home is, I do a lot of stir frying. So I'll parboil vegetables and I'll toss them in a wok with lots of spices, lots of fresh herbs. I'll put lemon on the top just to kind of zing up the flavor. And I've really been trying out different things as well. So really trying to avoid having curries on a bed of rice, which is often the norm. And, trying things that Indian people would probably find quite radical, actually. So eating the vegetable side dishes or the lentils with a lettuce leaf instead of having chapati, which has been fried in oil or in ghee. So really reducing that carb content, because essentially it's sugar. And people all over the world rely far too much on sugar now. In India, they drink teeny tiny cups of coffee full of sugar. And that's because you get that low after you've been just relying on the sugar content. I think there's a massive dichotomy in the world in general, also in India. And, Bollywood is a great example of this. So you'll see these kind of very beautifully toned bodies and people sort of dancing around, and they all look very, very fit and healthy. But you're not, men, you're not going to get a six-pack if you're eating too much food and you're eating fried stuff and you're not exercising properly. And, the same with women. We've just got to really think about the food that we're eating and really savor the flavor of that. I think that's what I want to leave you with. Eat well. When you eat, enjoy the food that you eat, and make sure that, you enjoy your family time and enjoy good food, but don't eat too much of it. Thank you.